Let me first say, because Yang Yang introduced this as the side event of our conference, I actually think that this is the main event of our conference. Because when we think about how to do this conference, we talk about, okay, what is the science, how is it related to policy and all that. But if we cannot bring this out to the public, then it's a bunch of us talking together. We have been talking with each other for years already. And whether we can actually communicate this to the public, I think is the main thing. Because we are talking about from science to policy. So I actually think this is the main event. The way we structure the conference is that we have Thursday 16 keynote talks reviewing the state of the science, a lot of major international Chinese findings. And then on the second day, we have 122 oral presentations in 6 parallel sessions. It's very busy, no one knows what is going on because no one can be in 6 places at the same time. So the third day, we have a morning report summary and actually have a discussion of what the session chairman come back and talk about what is given. And we are now trying to report to you what is the summary of that summary. But since a lot of the science, a lot of the thing is too boring for you, we have asked the participant for their permission. If they allow us, we will put their transparency onto our website, and that will be later. But we give them 2 weeks to think about it. If they allow us, the website will be having their presentation. So for me, I actually am not talking too much about the science part, but my role is talk about Hong Kong and PRD. So let me start with Hong Kong. It's not about what has been done, and it's really what needs to be done in the next 5 to 10 years. That's the focus of the conference. Talk about what, in terms of regional air quality management, what needs to be done in the next 5 to 10 years. Well, in Hong Kong, certainly, well, the 3 main thing, if you look at the emission inventory, transport, including marine vehicle, well, probably the airport also, and power. So those we need to continue doing. We don't need to go into detail, doesn't mean that we don't need to continue doing it. But then the main thing that we spend quite a bit of time in the third day talking about is how to make sure we have a good policy formulation process. Because that is very important. If you have the science, but that cannot connect to the policy, it would not be very effective. So I think a lot of people talk about the open and transparent process. It's not just about academics or researcher or even the government. We also have to involve stakeholders as well as the public because they will be affected. And the second thing is we need end-to-end evaluation. A lot of us just focus on one part, but how that part is connected to others is very difficult. So this end-to-end policy to impact analysis is difficult. It's a lot of errors, sometimes uncertainty. I would say uncertainty, not necessarily errors, but that's what we have in any other thing when you do prediction. But we need to articulate these options to impact much better to the community. Okay. Another point that was raised in the meeting is, well, air quality is not just an environmental issue. It's actually in the meeting, well, we see Christine, a lot of people from Environment Bureau come there, but we hope to be able to see people from other bureau or other sectors interested, like in particular health, transport, planning. We think that this is, to get this done, we really need to involve those people outside the Transport Bureau. I think John has already emphasized, and accountability and verification, that's important. We are spending a lot of money in Hong Kong for good reason, but we need to actually check how good is that, whether it's doing well. If it's doing well, what is the next step to improve? So accountability and verification is there. Well, the other thing is, well, we wait 27, well, I don't do, a long time, okay? 1987 to 2014 to change our AQO review. Now, it is under, I think it's now under the law saying that we need to review it once every 5 years, okay? But I don't think the law actually tells us how to review it. That is the big part that we really have to fight, because how that was done is very important. If it is just a closed door review, then how can the public be sure or be comfortable that it is done properly? And I think that is very important. So the review process, who is going to do it, how it's going to be done, that is important. And in the discussion about international experience, a lot of people talk about how to institutionalize this so-called science policy advising process. This is what I borrowed from Chris Fry. I'm not asking you to read it, but really this is the US review process, but it's institutionalized and the public has a chance to input in multiple times. And this is something that is ongoing, and we hope that in our review, we have some type of formal institutionalized framework to allow everyone to input and have a say. Okay, that's what we hope in terms of Hong Kong in the next 5 years, hopefully not 10 years. China, well, Zhu Tong, Bob has already talked about the changes, the improvement. Well, this is what has been driving some of the recent newspaper article and all that, is all this concentration. This is the annual mean concentration. And it seems that the pollution is really getting bad this last year. But no. Actually, this is the satellite view looking at 2002 to 2012. If you look at this place, well, starting, I think this is actually 2004 on, North China has been quite bad. But people did not talk about it because the data is not there. So it highlights the importance of open transparency and getting the data out. And I think it's also reflect the fact that the Chinese government allowed the data to come out. I think as scientists, we think that this is a show of confidence. They seem to think that, well, they can manage it or they can actually do something about it. So certainly there are other factors that may help, but allowing it, I think, is a big thing. Okay, so this is what Zhu Tong has already talked about. There are targets now set up as well as different control plan, and the control is changing from this technology-based to a risk-based system, and that's very important. So that as the background, what Hong Kong and PRD can do? Well, PRD is already required to do this regional co-prevention, co-control, regional forecasting and warning, and I think Hong Kong should join, and I understand Hong Kong is being invited, but that I don't know. But we should grab this opportunity to work together with PRD as much as possible, because that is, well, no matter how much we improve here, we should do as much as possible. But the modeling and a lot of analysis tell us that there's certainly a lot of the pollution coming from across the border. And if we participate in this and help this, it would be very important. And so PRD itself is actually the leading region in China. If you go back to the earlier satellite picture, you will see the southern part always a little bit greener, although it's still a problem. So we think that Hong Kong and PRD should actually work better together and show a way to improve this in China. And one of the things is the core competence or the capacity in air quality research as well as air quality management has to improve in China a lot. just like why people didn't think there was an air pollution problem before, it's because of that capacity is not there. And now, a lot of the new policy, the local government just don't know how to react, don't know how to do. It's also because the lack of that competence. I think if Hong Kong and Guangdong start pushing hard on that, that will also help a lot. And I think Zhu Tong already mentioned, if we can have some type of platform for regional science policy advising, that would be really great. And last, I think this is also some of the comment from the conference is, this is not just about science, this is about a lot of the soft part of negotiation, communication, coordination, collaboration, and co-development. So this is the recommendation for the next 5 to 10 years. Thanks very much.